Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and welcome. My name is Layla, and I'm from the Muslim Scout Fellowship here in the UK. Now, you might have just heard me start off with Assalamu alaikum and been thinking, Layla, I don't know what that means. But don't worry, it's okay. Assalamu alaikum means peace be upon you. So I'm wishing everybody that joins us peace, which is a lovely way to start. So assalamu alaikum, everybody. What I'm going to be showing you how to make today, you can see a couple of them behind me, are some Ramadan lanterns that look like this. Obviously yours will be a lot better than mine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over some of the things that you're going to need for these lanterns, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about Ramadan, and then we can get cracking with making. So things that you're going to need are, you'll need a pen or pencil, so there's mine. You'll need some paper. So I'm using coloured paper, but you can just use plain white paper because you are going to be decorating it. So it's up to you whether you want it to be plain white and decorated or you want to use coloured paper. You'll need a ruler. It doesn't have to be bendy. Mine is just bendy by choice. You'll need sellotape. You'll need you'll need scissors and a stapler, but you'll also need an adult to help you with these. So when we get to these parts, you can grab an adult to give you a hand and they can help you cut these out and staple things on. You'll also need, if you want to be doing crafts and sticking bits on like mine has, so like this one stuck on, you'll need to get your crafts and you'll need to get your glue stick, but I wouldn't suggest using anything heavy. So if you've got heavy crafts, probably not useful for this because after all, they're paper lanterns. So don't be using anything too heavy. But yeah, you can use some paper crafts if you want to. If you don't, and well, I don't think I will be today, but if you don't, felt tips or pencils. Coloured pencils will work as well. So Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, and I know you might be thinking, whoa, Layla, hold your horses. I know my months. This is month 5 for May, thank you. And I'll be thinking, yeah, correct, it is month 5 in the wrong calendar. So we're going to get rid of that one for now. What we need to be looking at is the lunar calendar, which looks like this. So at the beginning of an Islamic month, you can see a tiny little slither of the moon, and then the moon gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You can see more of it until you can see the whole full moon halfway through the month, and then it goes again until you can't see it again, and then you're into the next month. So at the beginning of this Islamic month, or the end of month 8, which was the end of April, you might have seen some people outside seeing if they could spot the moon, because if they could see the moon, it means month 9, which is Ramadan, will have started. So at the moment we might be somewhere around here, so when you go outside you might be able to see a nice big moon, which means we're getting near halfway point. So when we can't see the moon anymore, that means it is the end of the month and it is time for celebrations because it's Eid time. Now you might be thinking, Layla, that's all well and good, but I don't see how that connects to Ramadan lanterns. And I understand, but I'll explain how now. So during the month of Ramadan, if you can fast, you don't eat or drink, so no water, no snacks, no breakfast, nothing, from sunrise to sunset. So at the moment that's from around 3:30 in the morning all the way up to about 8:30 at night, which is a super long time. It's about 17 hours. But it's actually quite good because it teaches you how to have some self-discipline and some patience whilst you're waiting, and also it helps you to understand how people that can't eat throughout the day and can't afford to, or just don't have access to food and drink all day, how they feel, and it means that we give more charity. So during this month we have compulsory charity, so we have to give people a certain amount of money during the month of Ramadan. Okay, so that brings us on to Ramadan lanterns. So back in the day, when people didn't have electricity and they couldn't just flick a switch on and have their food in front of them nice and visible, they used to have to use lanterns. So this is just a reminder of those lanterns that people used to use. And you'll see a lot of people now in Muslim households during the month of Ramadan have have lanterns all over, and they can be very beautifully decorated. So how about you guys try it for one night? If you've got your camping lanterns, you could bring them in, turn the lights out, and see if you can have your dinner around lantern light and see what that looks like. I bet it would be absolutely beautiful. Okay, so let me show you how to make your Ramadan lanterns. So first things first, you need to grab your sheet of paper, and you're going to first want to cut out, I know it's a bit backwards, but you'll want to cut out the bit of paper that you're going to be using for the handle. So mine was roughly about 2.5 centimeters wide, but you can choose how wide or how narrow you want your lantern handle to be. So use your ruler, your pen, get your mark on there about how wide you would like your handle to be. So I think mine's going to be about this size. So what you need to do now is grab an adult to give you a hand with cutting those. I am an adult, so I'm going to cut mine out for you in front of you here. So cut out your handle with help. So get your adult to cut out your handle, and there you go. There's my one. So now you're left with the rest of the paper, so we don't waste anything here. So now you've got the rest of the paper. What you're going to do is you're going to need to fold it lengthways. So you want to fold it like this, so it's nice right down the middle. If you can make it as right down the middle, and then I'm going to rest it against the table just to make sure it's really deep. So you want to make that groove really, really tight, because that groove that you see there and that you're making there is going to be this little groove in the middle of your Ramadan lantern. So I'm going to make mine nice and deep. There you go. So next thing you need to do is you need to draw on your lantern where you're going to have these slits, so you can see the slits here. So what you need to do is have your paper this way up so that the fold is at the bottom, the crease is at the bottom, and it's open at the top. And you need to start drawing your lines down. So the lines don't start right at the top, so you don't make full strips. They need to start about 2 or 3 centimeters from the top and then go down, because the reason for that is when you're looking at your final lantern, they don't actually meet at the top. So the bigger the gap that you give here between you is going to be the same as the size that you have here and here on your final lanterns. So I'm going to leave about 2 centimeters. So when you're starting to draw your line from about there, you then want to take it all the way down to the bottom, to the fold in your paper. Perfect. And then the lines in between, the spaces in between, are up to you. So my spaces in between are about 2.5 centimeters, which gives you this size. But if you use wider ones, so this one was about 4 centimeters wide, this one was ever so slightly narrower. So the size that you do means that you'll get more panels when you actually do your final lantern. So I'm going to draw mine on now. So I'm going to use again about 2.5 centimeters. So I'll show you what mine looks like when it's drawn. Try and make them straight, but if you do want to make them a bit more wobbly and exciting, you can do so. Be a bit brave with it and experiment how you'd like it to look, because this is your lantern after all, and if you want to try different ways of doing it, you go for it. That would be fabulous. All right, so mine looks a little bit like that. I haven't left too much space at the top, but I just might not cut all the way to the top, so try to leave 2 to 3 centimeters in between. So now your paper, when you unfold it, should look like this. So now you can decorate your paper. When you're making your decorations, imagine that these lines will go all the way down in strips. So in between those, try and do your decorations. If you're doing sticky bits and sticking on, make sure they go in between the lines, because when you cut these, you don't want to cut through your crafts. So try and go in between the lines if you can, and make sure that the lines are still visible for when the adult needs to cut those out for you later. So I'm going to use a pen and I'm going to draw some hearts on mine just to explain to you how it works later on. So I'm just going to do some general hearts on mine. And now, so this is what mine's going to look like. So now I need to fold it back up again. And this is the point again where you grab your adult to help you. I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to start cutting my lines to about here. So again, this is why you don't cut it all the way to the end. So if you cut it all the way to the end, you just get loads of strips. So can I also remind you, whilst I'm cutting this and you're decorating it, when you're decorating it, don't forget to also decorate your handle. So this is the bit that you cut out earlier that's going to go over the top, because you don't want to leave that bit out. You need to make sure you decorate that as well. I'm almost done now. And there you go. So those are all the lines that I've done. So now it's going to start making looking a little bit more like a lantern. So I'm going to pop it back open again. And can you see how it's starting to look a bit upside down? A bit more like a lantern. So now when I bring it all the way around, and I'm going to like put the very last bit of paint over that bit so it overlaps a little bit. There you go. It looks a lot more like a lantern now. So you can get an adult to help staple this bit, or I'm going to use a little bit of sellotape. So I'm going to rip a little bit of sellotape. I only need about that much. And I'm going to tuck it over the edge of my lantern, so it should go like that. So keeping it nice and neat and together. So that's one end done, and I'm just going to get the other bit done now. So that you can all see. So there you go. So what you can do is, if you want to be really special, when you are doing that in your next lantern, after you've done your first lantern, is you can do 2 creases, which will give you 2 sets of these, which is really, really fun. Okay, so whilst you're on this lantern, I'm going to use my handle, and I'm going to try and staple it on. So this is where you'll need to grab your adult to help you. So they grab the staples, they put the handle, adults if you're looking, handle inside of the lantern, and then staple it in place. So I'm doing it around where the joint in mine is, because I know when I hang it, I'm going to hang it from this direction so people won't see where the handles and the joints are. So have a think about where you're going to be hanging yours. So if you were hanging it the other way, you don't need to worry too much about that. You can put it on the sides. All right, so when you your adults can also tell how long they want the handle to be, about how far they want to push that down into the side. So I want mine to be around that long, and I shall staple it in place. Ta-da! And there you go, a completed Ramadan lantern, which you can hang up around your house. So you can do all sorts of different things. Like I was saying, you can do different lines in it, or you can do like I've done with this one here, and I've used 2 different pieces of paper to give different handle and ends colours. So yeah, have fun, experiment, and see how well you can do with these. So I will see you all soon, hopefully, and I'm going to hope that everybody's looking out for their moon tonight and see what stage in Ramadan that you are in whilst you're doing your outdoor camping. So assalamu alaikum everybody, it was very nice to be with you.